Hello, hello. So it says I'm live, but I'm just going to give it a couple seconds and I'm going to double check on my phone to make sure that this video is up. Okay, looks like it is. Awesome. Okay. So hello, hello, welcome. So today I am going to be talking about anxious attachment. I am going to be breaking it down. What is it? What does it look like? A little bit about where it may have come from, and then getting into solutions and things to do if you're recognizing yourself in this and you're recognizing that it may be holding you back and what you can do to move forward. So that is what I'm going to talk about. So as you're hopping on, just say hi, let me know that you're here. And I would also just love to know what your attachment style is. So if you know, you could pop that in the comments and let me know. And if you're catching the replay, tell me that too. And also you can use hashtag replay so I can say hi to you, and feel free to interact with me, write comments and questions and ahas, whatever's coming up for you. So let me know what your attachment style is, number one. And so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Elizabeth. I am a dating coach for high-achieving, smart women, and I focus on helping my clients build self-worth, self-love, heal wounds and attachment traumas and things that are holding them back from having the relationship that they want, and then also help them understand men and navigate dating and all the pieces of that so that they can attract and choose and then have a really incredible relationship with the right man for them. So my work comes from like my own struggle with dating and relationships, because for most of my life, love and dating was not easy at all. Like up until like my mid/later 20s, I was always falling for unavailable men. I struggled with self-worth. I was choosing men who I wasn't in love with but who wouldn't leave me, so that then I could kind of be in control, because then I knew they were more in love than I was. And in my early 20s, I was in an on again, off again, dramatic, emotionally toxic relationship. And that was really tough and informed how my attachment style kind of morphed. And then I got my heart broken with a man like in my later 20s who just wasn't truly available for a relationship. And I experienced like all of the textbook anxious attachment stuff coming up while dating him. I was trying so hard for him to like me and to get him to show up for me the way I really wanted. And I tried literally like every trick in the book to try to make him realize how amazing I was. And when that didn't work and I got my heart broken, then I really had a moment where I was like, you know what, I really want to find love. I really want that lasting relationship. I want to get married. And so I decided I needed to figure out why love wasn't working for me, because I had this moment where I realized that it wasn't just like bad luck, that there was a pattern. There was something that I could potentially do about it then. Because I saw in all my failed just dating experiences, relationships, that there was one common denominator, and that was me. And that was the breakthrough, because I realized I could change how things were going if I could understand what in me was choosing and creating those situations to begin with. So that's when I figured out Love Blueprints, which is somewhat based on our attachment styles, and I saw how mine was working against me and sabotaging me even while I was trying to find love. Back then I actually didn't know about attachment styles, but I got how my inner world was working, and I figured out how to heal those attachment wounds, reprogram my love blueprint for someone who was available and going to be a good match for me. So that's when I met my fiance. That's when he came into the picture, and it was really because of the inner work that I had done that allowed it to happen and to progress. So today I'm going to be talking about what anxious attachment is, what it looks like, and then tips and solutions. And for any of those of you who are interested in working with me at the very end, I'll talk a little bit about that and what that looks like. So let me just check. Hi, Patrice. How are you? All right. So what is anxious attachment? So for those who don't know, anxious attachment is one of the 3 insecure attachment styles. So anxious attachment is marked by chronic low self-esteem, a strong fear of rejection or abandonment that results in clinginess and neediness in relationships, and kind of like an emotional roller coaster for you. So what does it look like? So anxious attachment can play out in your family, at school, in your career, with friendships, and without a doubt, it plays out in your romantic relationships because that's where the root of the wound will most likely come up as you're searching for love and trying to fill this feeling of sort of like, I don't feel worthy, but I really, really want love. This need for validation that you're lovable, and it just doesn't go away. Well, simultaneously, your subconscious is also kind of trying to prove you right, or prove that belief right, that I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough. So sometimes we can end up in these like self-sabotaging kind of situations because we've got a different part of us working against us. And so oftentimes, our interpretations of situations can be completely off, but we see what we're programmed to see with our beliefs and our love blueprint. So here are some of the ways that anxious attachment can look. So you may put other people, especially the men that you're dating, on pedestals. So while you're seeing yourself as kind of lower, you're going to give yourself up to try to be what you think will make them love you, pieces of yourself, to try to be lovable or to make that somebody love you so you feel good enough, essentially. So you end up giving all of the power of whether or not you are good enough away to somebody else through external validation. And so this is how we end up putting people on pedestals, because we're giving them the power to determine our worth. Number 2, fear of abandonment. So at your core, there is likely this deep pain that's the result of an experience of childhood abandonment. And that doesn't have to mean necessarily that you were physically abandoned. It could have been an emotional abandonment. It has the same impact. So as a result, you don't have confidence in your inherent worth, and there's this chronic feeling of unmet needs that's kind of like this void in your chest and heart area. And so you'll constantly be on the alert for potential distance, abandonment, right? Whether or not he's happy with you, over analyzing situations. Your nervous system is kind of on hyper alert all the time when you're dating someone. So this is why we notice the consistency in texting and how long it takes, and did he reach out to me, and always on hyper alert for, is there going to be abandonment? So number 3, this can lead to the need for constant reassurance from your partner or the person that you're dating that they like you and that they aren't going anywhere, because you don't see yourself as just inherently worthy of love. And so you're looking for that external validation from your partner, for that sense of I'm safe, for that sense of self-esteem. And so you're likely to be preoccupied with how your partner sees you. And this can be very draining and frustrating for your partner, and end up pushing them away because of that sense of just like, I need to hear it again and again, right? And that void that we're trying to fill with that partner, that kind of need that comes from us, that it kind of wants to pull anyone in who just comes close enough. Like we're trying to fill it. We need to fill it so badly. We need somebody else in our life so we can regulate and calm down. And so anybody who comes close, we can kind of pull them in, fall in love with them really quickly. And then there's this feeling of like, why won't anyone love me? Someone love me, right? Number 4, and going along with that kind of preoccupation with being loved and rescued from that feeling, is also likely that you have this fantasy kind of like the knight in shining armor. That man is going to come rescue you and complete you, and then you won't feel that way anymore. So when the shine wears off after the initial, then you find yourself questioning. You're back to questioning if he truly loves you. Is he truly going to stay? And you're still anxious, even after you feel like, oh, finally he's in my life. Number 5, because of this need for love, you may be quite good at manufacturing love out of thin air. So what does that mean? Like you're living more in fantasy than reality. So it could be a guy that you just started to get to know, or someone you've only talked to online, but you start to think of it like it's a relationship, and chances are he doesn't. So you may have this like full-blown like love affair that feels very real to you playing out, and the feelings are very real to you, but it's actually only fantasy. So you're likely to be imagining the wedding just a few dates in, cutting off all other options really early on, being completely swept up and in him and with him and preoccupied with him very quickly. Seeing him as kind of like the perfect man, picturing your life together. This can be really disastrous for you. And then number 6, you start overcommitting before any commitment. This kind of fits with number 5. Before any commitment has actually happened, because you become so wrapped up in him and obsessed with him, right? So you're willing to do anything for this person to demonstrate just how incredibly wonderful and worthwhile you are. Because again, external validation is beating your own internal validation. You're likely to be at his beck and call, giving, giving, giving. You're really afraid of making any mistake, any misstep. And we know, because we know what it looks like to be in high worth, even though it can be hard to be there, right? That isn't really attractive. It puts you in low value and low worth, and it puts you in more of a convincer role, which is not good for a polarity, especially in early dating. A woman should never be the convincer, right? And we want a healthy masculine man, somebody who's actually going to be pursuing. So when you become the convincer, you kind of ruin that attraction, right? It's not attractive. It can push him away. It makes you appear low worth, even though you're not, but that's how it shows up. And then number 7, you tend to overgive, just trying to make him happy, believing that if you do, he's going to value you. So you are kind of compensating for that fundamental feeling of like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not lovable. And you're using giving as a way to prove your worthiness. And when he's not reciprocating, then you jump into this being evidence of maybe I'm just not good enough. And meanwhile, you aren't winning his love by doing this, because giving is really the masculine energy and receiving is feminine. But it's because of the self-worth stuff that's going on inside you that you aren't actually being in that magnetic feminine. So when you sense any kind of distance or space, your abandonment wound is going to rear its head. You're probably spinning out into kind of emotional chaos, and it's really, really hard to pull yourself out of that. So, love is everything for you, right? And number 8, it's likely that you're attracted to more avoidant men, or men who don't want to commit. And that seems like counterintuitive because you want love so badly, but this is like the perfect mirror for your wounds, for the abandonment wound. And so when that's not healed, we tend to attract partners who match our wounds. So his behavior is perfectly matching the wounds that you have. It's proving those wounds, that part of you right, that you will be abandoned, that you aren't enough, which is what our unhealed wounds and beliefs want to do. And that's your love blueprint, picking what it knows, what it believes, what it's used to, and replicating it, because that's what it's meant to do. So I'm just going to check if there are any comments here. It looks like there are not. So as you're listening, as you're watching, feel free to comment if you have questions or if you're recognizing yourself in this. So I want to talk about root causes, like what's the cause, what's happening. So most likely, in most cases, anxious attachment is the result of having learned from something in childhood that you are not worthy, lovable, or good enough. So you could have reached this conclusion from anything, but usually develops as a result of a parent or a primary caretaker who was unpredictable or didn't provide adequate emotional attunement. So you experience shame, criticism, maybe even the pressure to be perfect. And sometimes your caretaker, your parent, would be supportive and responsive to your needs, and then other times they were completely misattuned to you and were not at all. And so there was this inconsistency that made it difficult for you to understand what your parents' behavior meant and what kind of response to expect in the future. It's also possible, if you have more of covert anxious attachment style, that you had a parent who actually needed you to be the parent for them, to kind of caretake them. And in that case, that parent would have looked for emotional and physical closeness with you in order to satisfy their own attachment needs, rather than a partner. So maybe there was no father figure, for example, or just maybe your mother really heavily leaned on you and may have put a lot of her expectations for perfection onto you and expectations for success and achievement. And this creates kind of people pleasing. So this results in you not knowing what response to expect, and it leaves you, the child, in this state of like chronic stress and fear around your connection to this parent because of that inconsistent parenting. Maybe the parent just left, right, and did not come back. Often it's the father. So as a result, you become preoccupied with how you're being perceived, because you're thinking it's my fault that this love and attention is so inconsistent. Like maybe I did something wrong. And so I need to figure out how to do the right thing so I can get positive validation from this person who's so important to me important for my survival. So your self-worth becomes externalized and dependent on how others are perceiving you, especially that attachment figure, which then becomes your romantic partner. So what this does is this actually results in self-abandonment because you've internalized that it's me, I'm not lovable or good enough, and also I can't survive on my own. I need this person, right, for my survival, for my regulation. And so you're searching for that parenting and emotional soothing from potential partners that you didn't get as a child. But you're tending to choose partners who mirror what you did experience in childhood, so they end up exacerbating the wounds and those negative self-beliefs. Because underneath it all, there is likely to be a feeling like I'm a burden to other people. And so you're searching for validation that this is not true, and our beliefs are just recreating situations where it appears to be true. So there's going to be just this anxiety and desperation around getting love, and this fear that it won't be there, and the need for reassurance because of this inner wound and this around insecurity, right? So lower self-esteem, insecurity, clinginess, desperation, chasing, just needing love, that's following you into your adult relationships because of those attachment things that have gone on and those beliefs that are not yet examined and rewired. So that's kind of what's going on here. So any questions so far, comments? Otherwise I'll just keep continuing. Okay. So I want to talk about how to heal, or what are the 4 key areas that you would want to focus on. So the hardest part about anxious attachment is that as long as it is unhealed and kind of running the show, you end up putting yourself in compromising positions in relationships and when you're dating. Giving too much, chasing, getting burned and rejected over and over again. So it's important that to a certain extent you've healed so that you can come into a relationship as a whole person with high self-worth or high enough self-worth so that you've healed some of the emotional pain and rewired the main beliefs that are creating what you've been experiencing so you can attract a healthy partner who treats you right and then maintain that relationship. So there are really 4 key things I work on with my clients. So the first one is just the inner work to heal the nervous system and get you out of that hyper-aroused state and change your set point. So that's re-regulating, calming your nervous system down and learning how you can stay there through this work and forming those new neural pathways so that over time you're able to stay there longer and get back to there more easily. So that's the first part. The second part is working on the limiting thoughts and beliefs and recurring thoughts themselves, so which are contributing to the self-defeating behaviors and to that hyperaroused state that you may find yourself in when you're dating. So a belief is just a thought that you thought so many times that you've created neural pathways to it, so your mind easily and automatically can go there. And that creates a lens that you are seeing things through. So for example, the belief that you are going to be abandoned. This is ingrained in your neural pathways, and so when you're looking at situations, that is all you're seeing. So uncovering what these limiting beliefs and stories are and rewiring them is key, so it's not automatically where you go, because also what we're just believing and thinking is also what we end up creating, being abandoned, right? So when unmanaged and unexamined, these are contributing to being in a hyperaroused, anxious, and preoccupied state, and to the patterns and behaviors in relationships and dating that you've been playing out. So the beautiful thing is that it doesn't have to take super long to do this. These are just learned and practiced more than other thoughts, beliefs, and lenses. So coaching helps you with the underlying nervous system work and the healing the wounds work, and then also uncovering those limiting beliefs that you have, what they are, and then helping you to rewire them once they're found. And number 3, and this is really what I was kind of referring to, is healing the core wounds. So this is the core stuff from childhood where that emotional experience that keeps getting triggered is coming from. So there are experiences, and sometimes you don't have a memory of a core one, but it was probably repetitive enough. Right now it's just in your body that were so traumatic for you that you formed extremely strong reactions to them in your nervous system, as well as beliefs about yourself and other people around those experiences. So just working on like mindset work or like belief work, for example, just like affirmations alone, it doesn't change the emotional charge and the nervous system charge around them. So you can get stuck looping on these unhelpful perspectives and beliefs that you may rationally know are not true, but still have them feel true. Like, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, I'm a burden, there's something fundamentally wrong with me, I can't state my needs, it's not safe to, any of those things, and it could be any number, are all beliefs that come from somewhere, right? Some experience, and that's in the body. So they'll keep cropping up if we don't get to the core and actually heal that. And they're also kind of like, I think of them like the root, the base of the tree, or like, I don't know, Medusa's head. Things keep sprouting off of them, and the more experiences we have, the more like we get attached to those things, and there's like new beliefs that are kind of attached to that belief, right? A bunch of different things. It's like a whole system around it. And if we just cut off one of the not the core thing, it's just going to keep growing back because we didn't get to the core. So it's kind of like this never-ending battle. And so in my work, we're uncovering the roots, the core wounds, to do the work to actually heal the root so you can eradicate them at the root instead of continuing to fight all the branches that continue to form off of them, which is like the beliefs that cluster around them. All the different meanings that got made from that event, and then a new event happened and new things got attached to that. So what we believe deeply to be true is what we're creating as our reality. So massive changes in your life, for example, in dating, in your relationships, it happens when we can uproot the deeply ingrained things that are there that just feel true no matter what. So that's number 3. And number 4 is working on the behaviors that stem from the first 3. So this is like the practical guidance while you are doing the rewiring and working towards all that healing work and the mind work, right, is just practically and behaviorally stopping you from potential self-sabotage, catching behaviors that are not serving you while dating and replacing those with something that's much healthier and better and going to get you what you want. So like when you're continuing to wait on a certain man, or over pursuing and working too hard, what to do instead, what that will look like, right? Or the tendency to want to move things forward really fast, and maybe you don't realize that you're doing that. Deciding on someone before you really should, or before it's in your best interest, what to do instead, what that looks like when we have really healthy self-worth, healthy self-esteem, high value. This can look like, have you been putting someone on a pedestal, which is resulting in giving, or people pleasing, or holding back who you are, and what to do, how to be able to show up differently that goes along with the work that we're doing on the mind and the nervous system. So what are the behaviors of a woman with high self-worth? How does she communicate, right? How does she act? What is she going to accept and not accept? So that you're already like signaling, as while we're uncovering and rewiring the triggers and beliefs that are coming up, just all of that stuff, or being able to recognize the red flags and the green flags earlier. So all of those things, it's just like more of the practical that is also going to be really helpful for you. So if you are a woman who has already worked on herself to some extent, you've already done inner work, maybe you've done some kind of therapy or some other coaching, or maybe you've just read a bunch of books and studied on your own, or you've tried other modalities and still finding yourself stuck, or you're ready for that next level, that deeper level. You've been repeating these patterns that you don't want to anymore. You really want to find your person, and you're just done trying to do it on your own. You are really fully committed to yourself, to your inner work, to your healing, to your growth, and to the outcome that you want in your life, which is for you to feel really great by yourself, with yourself, and then also to attract that really amazing relationship. And you know the importance of this work to you and the impact it's going to have on your life, and you're ready to do this work. You're ready to apply it as dating, and you truly want to find that right guy for you. You want that lasting relationship. You want marriage, kids, the whole thing. And you can see how you've not been able to do that on your own, or you just don't want to waste time trying on your own, because, time is really the thing that we cannot get back. It's the non-renewable resource that we have, and you know that, right? You don't want to be in crisis when you reach out. You want to be proactive. That's the kind of woman you are, and you've made it your goal this year to meet the right man, to find that relationship. And to you, having the relationship of your dreams and the way that you feel about yourself, both of those things, is really priceless to you. It's so invaluable. This isn't something that you're going to be like, you can't really compare money to, right? How is the man of your dreams the right relationship for you, and the way that you get to feel going through your entire life comparable to anything, right? It's priceless. So I want you to just look at like the patterns that you have, the experiences you've had, and what you're ready for, what you want moving forward. So if you're like many of my clients, you are likely getting to the age that you realize that you need to have this figured out because you want to have kids, you want to have a family, and you're ready for that. If you are, yes to those things, then I invite you to reach out to me and book a consult call. Apply for coaching. Let's book a consult call. Let's chat about where you are, where you want to be, and then how I can support you in getting there and get you enrolled in coaching. I've got 3-month and 6-month packages of one-on-one weekly coaching. We'll be doing exactly the things that I outlined in the steps for rewiring your attachment style and all of the pieces that go along with just the dating support. So we have weekly coaching. My clients who are truly committed and ready to go all in get such amazing results. They have deep inner transformations. They find incredible partners and just so much more shifts in their lives. So if you are ready, then send me a message. I've had so many clients who, and many of them anxious attachment, who have met their partners within a very short amount of time. It doesn't have to take a very long time. You don't have to be like 100% solved in order to have that partner come into your life. Recently did an interview with one of my clients who had an anxious attachment style. You can find that video somewhere in the group. So I've had so many others who have done the same. So they're just key things to shift, and then you can meet this man if you're truly ready. So I'm so excited for you, for this journey, and for what's possible. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.